Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. On Saturday being tomorrow, which will be April the 5th, 2025, we have a heavyweight fight, which is for the English title. And I think, no, it's not, excuse me, it's for the British title, which is vacant because one of the fighters, David Adeleye, held the English title, but this is actually for the vacant British title. Yeah. So Adeleye is moving up. It's a vacant title, by the way, and he's fighting Jeamie TKV, Jeamie Tshikeva, I think. Tshikeva? I think that's how you pronounce it. But he calls himself Jeamie TKV. And it sort of smacks of being an explosive encounter because the press conference either didn't go well or went very well, depending on your point of view, because it didn't go well in the sense that it ended up with Jeamie throwing a table at Adeleye. Perhaps you think that's a good thing. You might think the press conference went great because it soups up the fight and gets people interested and all that sort of jazz. But regardless of all the, preliminaries, it's a good fight. The styles match up very, very well. And a good domestic heavyweight ding-dong, we like those, don't we? I mean, like I say, it is for the vacant British title, but Adeleye, who is... what is he, about 6'4", 6'5", 28 years old, called himself Big D, David Big D Adeleye, and he is pretty big. In his last fight, he fought Solomon Dakers and knocked him out in a round. Dakers was undefeated in 9 fights, but Adeleye got rid of him very quickly indeed. I mean, it was over in about a minute and a half, roughly, a bit less even. That was for the English title, which had belonged to Dakers. Prior to that, Adeleye fought Fabio Wardley over in Riyadh. This was back in 2023, and he got done in 7 rounds. Got knocked down, got up, and then got stopped on his feet. That was for the British and the Commonwealth titles. So this is his second shot at the British title. And Wardley, as we know, still undefeated, had that great win over Fraser Clark, that absolute war of a draw to start with, and then in the rematch he did Fraser Clark in a round. So, the way that Adelaye's come back from that, what was a bad defeat, shows a bit of character. He got rid of Dakers in a round. Now he's moved on to Jeamie TKV, who himself, he's not undefeated. He's got 8 wins with 5 KOs, 1 defeat. And the defeat was, I think, it's just a plain old bit of bad matchmaking because in 2023, he fought a bloke called Igor Macedo from Brazil, who came in with 11 wins and 1 defeat. The defeat was a 10th round, last round stoppage to Sergei Kuzmin. And then he came back with, let's put it this way. In the he came in with 11 wins. I think he's got 13 wins now, but in the 11 wins, all of them were by stoppage. And he only had that defeat to Kuzmin, who's actually a good fighter. Unfortunately, Kuzmin's career has stagnated sort of pretty badly, which is a shame because he's quite a talented guy. But Jeamie TKV was put in with Macedo by, I think it was a boxer promotion, and Ben Shalom. Someone hadn't done their homework because this Igor Macedo is one of the most intimidating looking human beings I've ever seen. And big with it. I mean, his face, he looks like a Bond villain he's got a great career in gangster movies if he ever wants to retire. He doesn't have to say anything, he just has to walk in the room. And he basically had a war with Jeamie, and Jeamie got badly cut by a punch, not by a headbutt. And the fight was stopped in 6 rounds. And it was bad matchmaking, really. And I think Macedo has gone on to win further fights. He's very much in the mix. But for Jeamie, it was like, oh my God, get this eye stitched up and move on. And since then, he has moved on because he's had 3 wins since then. Last time out, he stopped Michael Webster in 9 rounds. He retired after 9. And he beat Franklin Ignatius, who I think was undefeated in about 6 or 7 fights. He stopped him in 6, and that was a copper box. That was a grueling fight. There's really nothing scientific, shall we say, about the way that Jeamie fights. He comes forward looking to take your head off. He's a big lad, a very big lad, 6'4", 31 years old, so he's not that old. I think he normally comes in the sort of, I don't know, 250, something like that, 260s. So he's a big lad, but there ain't a lot of technique going on. He's come forward, throw huge punches. Against Ignatius, it was just a sort of grueling, grinding, attritional sort of fight. Really quite a crude sort of fight. So you have to ask, how's he going to get on against Adeleye? Because Adeleye, although he is front-footed and he likes to he likes to be proactive from the word go, he's by no means he doesn't box conservatively. He's got a lot more technique. He uses his jab, and this is basic boxing, of course, but he uses his jab and likes to sort of work for the openings. That's not to say he's not going to throw punches when it's a sort of 50-50. He will. He's not one of these guys who'll sit on the back foot and let the guy come to you and then try and counter punch. No. He is a pressure fighter, but there's some technique there. And he starts quickly, as we saw against Solomon Dakers. It was left hook that put Dakers down and pretty much out. He was quite aggressive against Wardley, although he came a cropper there. But he won't have to box on the back foot anyway. He won't have to look to counter punch because Jeamie Tshikeva can only fight one way, and that's coming forward and throwing big punches. I don't think, despite his style, that Jeamie is a one-punch knockout artist. He does have knockouts on his record. He's only got 8 wins, of course. He's still quite early in his career. But the Ignatius fight was such an ugly fight, such a maul. And Ignatius just sort of ran out of steam, basically, and sort of essentially kind of half quit. You know what I mean? Adeleye didn't quit against Wardley. He was stopped on his feet. He was a bad knockdown, and then he got up and got stopped on his feet. He says prematurely, and that was in 7 rounds. So it took Wardley a few rounds to get rid of him. And Wardley is a spiteful so-and-so. He throws mean punches with intentions, explosive. So I don't see Adeleye having to do anything other than allow Jeamie to come onto him and then let his hands go. And I think that's a very bad recipe for Jeamie TKV. Like I say, there's bad blood there. They were former friends, apparently. So I've read and so I've heard. They were former friends, but the press conference, something got said on TalkSport. I don't even know what the reason was, but it resulted in a lot of threats being made, and then Jeamie sort of flipped the table over or something. Poor old Frank Warren, bless him. He nearly had a heart attack. Someone called adult social care, surely, for poor old Frank? No, not really. No, I see Adeleye stopping Jeamie. I see Jeamie coming forward, trying to work. He's predominantly a headhunter, but a lot of people neglect the body, don't they, when they go to work? But I think he'll come forward looking to grind down Adeleye, but I don't see it happening. I think Adeleye will box a little bit, use the jab, but he won't even really need to find the range because the range is going to be there. Jeamie will come in, and then Adeleye will let his hands go and gradually beat him up. And I see this is a 12-rounder because it's for the British title. I see Adeleye stopping Jeamie in about, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 rounds, something like that. Middle of the fight, middle rounds, maybe, we've got 9, 10, it's 12 rounders, so the last third would be rounds 9 onwards. Yeah, I'd say 8, 9, 10, something like that. You know what I mean? It could happen sooner. Could happen maybe 7, 8, 9. That sort of. But the point I'm making is I think Adeleye wins this fight by stoppage, whichever round you want to pick. I always like to try and pick a round because then if I get it right, I'll go, hey, I got it right. I got to pick the right round. But very often you sort of if you ever put money on a fight, you'll normally sort of circle a little 3-round section, which you think where you think it's going to happen. So I'll say 7, 8, 9, 8, 9, 10. That sort of part of the fight. Yeah, might get stopped on his feet, Jeamie. It might be a recurrence of the Mikado fight where he got stopped on his feet, got cut. But whatever the case, he's a tough guy. Jeamie's a tough guy. But I think Adelai's got a bit too much for him in terms of technique and power. And I just think Jeamie is sort of English level. But I don't see him upsetting Adeleye. I think Adeleye wins the belt on his second attempt. But what do you think? Let me know. Comments below as usual, and thank you for your time. Please subscribe to the channel, and if you like the video, hit the like button because you're helping us out. They count the likes. It's all down to algorithms and whatever that other thing's called. I don't know what any of these words mean, but hit the like button if you like the video. Yeah, thank you. All right, the sun is out, as you can see. It's streaming through the blinds, so I've got to go out in a minute. I hope you have a nice day, and as always, much love. Take care. Bye for now.